Welcome CSE 230 to part 7 of our EX16. This is optional. This is just an addendum, so you don't have to keep digging into this. But I just wanted to go over a couple things with our Wells lawn care that I wanted to address after finishing up the last video. And a couple things I noticed when I resized this is this thing that's in one of my flex items here actually starts to stretch out like that. That doesn't look very good. Now, obviously, we would want to be doing media queries and probably getting rid of that or stacking it or something and getting rid of this as well. But either way, we don't want that thing stretching like that. It looks bizarre stretching. We can fix that. And also, if you notice, this stuff, as the text starts to wrap, goes underneath there. So we'd want to fix that too. And also another thing I just want to mention, this is set to center, this background image, and it moves so that it's centered in that element, in that section. That's okay. You could keep it like that. Or you could also keep it fixed too. That's another thing you can also do. There's that background image fixed. And then you could just put, instead of center, you could just put a certain amount of pixels down. So I'll just address a couple things with this. And one thing I just wanted to mention here is this image. I think the last version I had, I just used this. Now, I did give this a class name. I gave that image right a class name, so I should use that. So I'm only identifying that one because I have image left and I have image right. So I don't want anything to be affected by this that shouldn't be. So even though the other one is a background image, I want to make sure I'm targeting just the right image. So this is targeting just this image here. And I think I put margin left auto to push it over to the right. Let me take this out a second and see if I even need that, because it seems to be going to the right, no problem. I think I was having some issue here, but it still is going to the right, so I don't think I need that. But one thing we can do here, the flex grow too, it's taking up 2 columns. One thing you could put in here is a max height. I could put max height and just put the height of whatever the image is. Now, if you don't know what the max height is, if you don't know what the image height is, unfortunately in here it doesn't show you when you go to image right. It just shows you the image. It doesn't give you the details. I'm not sure why it doesn't, and I'm not sure, maybe there's somewhere it does if you click on it, but it doesn't. But if you go here and you inspect your image, it's pretty easy to just kind of go right on top of it, and it'll tell you 420 by 479. So 479 is its height. So I could go here and go back to my styles and put 479 pix, and hopefully that'll lock it in at that size. So let's refresh this. Let's close this up and let's see if that fixes it. And that fixes it. So that helps, and then it starts to get covered up as you keep going. Now this thing up here, the header, we gave that a height of 160. Now that means it's going to stay 160 even if this text wrap, it's getting covered up. Now we could try an autoflow, but what we could do is just take away the height and just let the height be based on whatever's inside there. That would be going up to header height, taking that out and just seeing what happens. Now let's refresh. See, it gets a little tighter here, but then when it bumps, it should kind of extend to fit that in there. Now, what's happening here is this logo's extending. It's doing the same thing as that logo. And we already know how to fix that because we just did it with this image. Remember max height? Well, if you go here and you inspect this one is 154. So if you do the same thing with that image, and let's see, that would be, and what we could do is go to the logo, and we don't have the logo listed anywhere here. We have header, we don't have the logo. The logo's inside the header, and let's just go take a look at the logo. The logo does have a class called logo, so we could call it header and then image.class because it's the image inside header. So we could make a style for that real quick, and I'll do it right after the header. So that would be header, because that's the kind of the container of it, and then it would be image dot logo, because that's the class name. So it's the image with the class name of logo inside of the header element. So we'll use that, and then we'll just give a max height of 154 px, and let's see if that fixes it. I'll refresh. I'll close this up and I'll move that over. and that's good. So that keeps it up there. Now we can adjust things in terms of how it lays out. And remember, if we're going to start thinking about mobile, we'd probably want to have this, when it gets small enough, we'd probably want to stack the logo over the headline. We'd probably want the navigation to disappear and just have a hamburger button. We'd probably want this thing to disappear. We'd probably want this thing to disappear. Remember, we could always use media queries that tell us basically that we can tell the background image to basically display none. We could tell this thing to display none. We could sometimes even just give this a width of none so it almost disappears. So there's a lot of different things we could do. I won't get into the media queries yet because we don't really have time to do the media queries, but I just wanted to address some of that, at least to finish up here a little bit. So again, I created a style here for header image logo just so I could give it a max height, and I took away the height of the header and just let the header basically expand to whatever's inside it. So the header is basically as big as whatever these things are, in addition to any padding or anything like that. I think we might have had some kind of padding above or whatever. So if we went mobile, we'd probably put this on one line. We'd probably stack everything, but that's for another day. So I just wanted to finish this up with this little addendum with EX16 just to go over any little things that popped up. And if you have anything that popped up, just email me and I'll try to address it as best I can, because I know I went through some of this fast. I didn't do everything particularly by the book when I was making names of classes and all that. Some of that I tried to do as quickly as possible. I just named things, LI inside of stuff, but hopefully things worked out okay as far as doing that. And if I get a chance over the summer, I'm sure I'll make a video of doing this responsive so that we can do it for mobile as well. And then I could show you how in Figma you could also design a mobile layout as well. But that's our little addendum for EX16.